Go ahead and call the meeting to order. Time now is 1:05 p.m.
Okay, here we go.
And I thank each and every one of you for coming out on July 5th, which is a little unorthodox considering we had a holiday yesterday, but I do appreciate everyone's attendance here. We'll go ahead and get things kicked off with the attendance. Councilor Vargas. Councilor Rolton. And I am Councilor Laurent. We have 33, so we do have a quorum, which means we can continue with conducting city business. As always, we will start off with public comment. We're going to limit it to 20 minutes total. Going to give each speaker about 2 minutes each. We ask that you maintain decorum, no personal attacks, things of that nature. With that being said, do we have any public comments that anyone would like to share? Yes, Ms. Heyman.
Hi, I'm Sally Heyman. I've seen two recent news articles that I wanted to make sure everybody had heard about. The first one came out this morning. It's an OIG report. And they're calling for 7 BIA and 15 COPA investigations to be reopened. And this affects us in the 14th district because one of the cases they want reopened is the Nowacki decision regarding the Oath Keepers. BIA stated that membership in the organization itself is not a rule violation, but OIG is indicating that it's contrary to CPD policy and past procedures regarding the Proud Boys and the KKK, and they want it reopened. And they mentioned Nowacki in particular in their discussion of it. It's a 91-page report, and I didn't have time to read everything, but it's really interesting.
The OIG report was 91 pages?
Yep, it's the 2024 annual report, and I got it this morning. Didn't see it till about 10:30, 11. So I have not read all of it, but it looks really amazing in terms of what they're covering for the police department. I would encourage everyone to try and get a copy of it, and I can send it to people, or if there's a centralized way to get it out, I'd be glad to do that. The other thing is that there was a WTTW report that came out on July 3rd that said that there are 211,000 undocumented traffic stops in 2024. 295,000 almost were reported to the Illinois Department of Transportation that tracks all traffic stops in Illinois, but those were not reported. This was a city council hearing called by Daniel Espada.
Thank you for your comments. And just a quick reminder, we're going to ask that we let the public comments be single focus rather than any kind of crosstalk. So thank you for your comments. Do we have any other comments that anyone would like to share? Yes, ma'am. Could you state your name, please?
Yeah, hi, I'm Samantha Chang. I'm a constituent of the First Ward. I just want to thank you for doing this work. And kind of oversight is a lot of effort, and so thank you so much for your labor, bravery. I went to the Immigrant and Refugee Committee hearing last Monday, and it seems like this work is in dire need right now because they were speaking about June 4th, the ICE raid in South Loop, and it seems like there wasn't a whole lot of clarity about what was happening, even in terms of like the testimony that was provided. So, and hearing those two reports that came out, so reiterate, thank you for your work, and hope to have a good meeting.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, we have plenty of time for more comments if anyone has any. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close public comment. Thank you to those that shared. Okay, next thing we have on our agenda is to approve minutes. Now, this is going to be the very exciting part because we've got 5 different meeting minutes to kind of go over. Thankfully, they were shared out via email early, so this shouldn't take near as long as reading every word and making certain punctuation is where it should be. That being said, we are currently looking at the March 4 minutes. I have reviewed these in my own time, and I have found no issue with them. And I ask of my colleagues if they have any issue with anything that needs to be clarified or omitted. Council Wilk?
Sorry, what's the record? The March 4th ones are the longest ones.
Right. This was the one, just as a reminder, this was the meeting that we had Commander Linus at Haas Park.
Okay, sorry, sorry, both co-councilors have.
Yeah,
have
I'm
approval for this?
I'm just, yeah, I found none, but I asked for any clarity or omissions that needed, and provided none. I'd rather them be right than speeding through it.
This was a question about UVs and things that was. I know there's a lot of things.
Send me the link.
Okay. So sorry. I'm still investigating, but what I'm looking at is, it looks like, I guess, the bottom of the back of the second page, it says Q4 under meeting attendee Q&A.
Which item? Q4?
Yeah, so starting at the very bottom, I believe this was community member Nick Hernandez asking about e-visas. So the response he got from Bettencourt is here, and that was our area representative. However, this is largely an incorrect response, and there was a correction given by his superior. So I'm just looking to see if that is also in, Deputy Director Brooks, okay, sorry, so that down at A6, and that's what I'm just looking at. More information about Q6, clarity of previous question attendees. Okay, all right, yeah, okay, I would agree.
Okay, so no, just for clarity,
Seems accurate.
and for the record, everything seems accurate, and you guys approve
Yes.
as submitted. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? No opposition, for the 3-3. 3-0. All right, moving forward to April 5 meeting. This was at, here at this location, Lewisburg Public Library. Councilor Vargas was not present for this one. I only had one correction on this one, but, and
I'm sorry, we're, April 7th?
April 5th.
Okay.
The one correction that I found in this one was, at the very bottom of the first page, district, when we're talking about public safety, there's my updates. Should be Lieutenant Ryan Courtney, not, Horton.
Sorry, can I ask another? I don't know, confused, I don't see the
Right, that one is, May 17th.
This is what they said. Okay, so we're on April 5, and this is just one double-sided page. You had one edit. Change your name.
Right.
Okay, well, obviously, I'm not.
Right here, the last name is actually Courtney, not Courtney. So, and that's all the corrections that I saw, and I asked my colleagues if they see any inaccuracies that need to be corrected before we vote on.
I'm not sure how to change it, so I guess I would, sorry, at the council will update projectual traffic stop, I would, in the first sentence, end it, I guess, after, I'll change it to, striking after the attorney general's office combined with the existing one. I think that to accurately describe the situation, I don't think that that's really accurate, but to accurately describe the situation would, I don't know how to do that quickly, it would take a lot of space.
What you're saying is to end it at traffic.
I changed pre-cycle to traffic and just said, the commission requests the city to adopt some policy concerning traffic stops. Or,
And then just ended at stops.
in parallel to the, amidst the, no, I don't know, because it's like, amidst the ongoing consent decree, I don't know how to even do that. Through the typical means outside of the consent decree. I think that is accurate.
So, say, traffic stops through the,
Typical means outside of the consent decree. Thank you.
outside.
Of the consent decree. I believe that to be accurate because the sticking point between the Attorney General and others was over the actual formalization of it into the consent decree.
I just want to make sure we gotta take a look at it, in case you weren't where we were on that.
Okay.
All right.
And of course, so I'm sorry, are these all WorldCup updates or are these combined updates? Because this one was probably from you, is this the CPG?
Yeah, that was great.
So maybe we could,
I'll just get that link back to my.
sure.
Something I mentioned.
Okay, thank you, I'm good.
All right, and any clarity that needed on your end, Council Burgess? Okay. All right, any issues with the amendment that Council will come? Okay, that being said, looks like we have no pending changes, no further pending changes on that. All in favor of approving the April 5, 2025 meeting minutes, say aye. Aye.
Yeah.
All opposed? The vote of 3-0, these are carried as amended.
Right.
All right, moving forward, April 9, 2025, this was at the, on North Avenue, and this was just Council Holocaust and myself, where we went and did a wholesale meeting minutes approval from previous, I think it was in October.
Oh, this was a special meeting? Okay, yes.
January, February, yeah,
Okay.
and quarterly minute meeting, yeah. So yeah, this is when
Yeah.
we had to recover all the quarterly meeting minutes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I would approve these. All right, I have no suggested alteration.
Okay, Councilor Vargas?
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion to approve the April 9, 2025 meeting minutes. Any opposition? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? By a vote of 3-0, the April 9, 2025 meeting minutes are approved. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Last one?
We got two.
I'm missing. What else? do we have?
Last one.
Okay.
Shared via email earlier this week.
Oh, do you have a paper copy?
I only have one with me, but we can parlay that one for the next meeting. Okay, so May 17, which is blank on our sheets here. So this was the meeting that we held at the Logan Square Church. Is that the actual name? Because I know.
The Grace Methodist Church, United Grace Methodist Church in Logan Square? something like that.
I'll get the accurate spelling.
What's the address? I mean, like, what is the cross street?
It's Grace United Methodist Church at 3325 West Wright, Wood.
Grace United.
There we go. Yeah, well, that,
Thank you very much.
by
Only
Lori's.
with email access.
I want to make certain that, like I said, these are going to be going into the history documentation, so I want to make certain we're as accurate as possible. And like I said, it was a May 17th, it was a regular meeting. All three of us were in attendance. I've taken a look at these and I haven't found any issues, and I invite any corrections or remissions to be mentioned by my colleagues.
Okay. No. Okay. Right.
Yeah, these seem a little funky here. I don't know.
And that's- I got it.
So no corrections from you, Councilor Waterman?
I don't think so. I mean, yeah, the one thing that I noticed was, oh, never mind, there's, maybe just clarifying that, Councilor Vargas, co-created the victim bill of rights proposal. But that's up to the council.
No, I agree.
And then that they are, okay, we're
The nominator update,
victim bill of rights.
Councilor Vargas co-created a proposal for a victim bill of rights, and then continued because the rest was done. Councilor Vargas
Well,
co-created.
it's under her update, so we'll say, how about we just say co-sponsored victim bill of rights? Just say co-sponsored.
Co-create.
Co-create, okay. Is that adequate though?
Yep.
Are you in agreement with that? Just put co-created at the front of that line, or is there anything that we want to elaborate on?
I agree with you mentioned.
Okay. All right, that being said, we've got, that correction, and of course, we have, meeting date, May 17 added on here, and, United Grace Methodist Church is the name of the location. And and we've got the address as well. That being said, are there any other corrections or modifications to these minutes? Okay, all in favor of approving these minutes as amended? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And these are approved by a vote of 3-0. Okay, and as we mentioned, we get a little bit of extra time to review the minutes from our last meeting, which was just 2 weeks ago. Plenty of time between now and August 2, our next meeting. So I ask that my colleagues review those at their earliest convenience so that we can minimize the approval process and let everybody go out and enjoy this hot summer day.
Those are June 21 minutes that were already emailed.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Where are the minutes published?
On our website.
On the CCBS?
On our- in
Under
District
14th
14,
District?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, all right, District Council updates. Do we have any updates from our nominating committee chair, Councilor Vargas?
So, back in June, we had a quarterly meeting where, I shared on the co-creation of the Victim Bill of Rights with my colleague Leo Quintero in the 12th District. I worked closely with the sexual assault victims, sharing the language with them, getting the feedback, as well as Leo working with families who have lost loved ones to gun violence. So we have five different action items that we would like CPD to act on when dealing with victims. So I presented that to all the district councilors, and I'm hopeful to have 2/3 of their vote to make this a commission priority. And right after that quarterly meeting, I had a nomination meeting with my fellow 22 other nominators. So I did write down my updates, so forgive me as I look on my phone. It's just been a very busy couple of months, so I just had to write everything down. So we recently held a nominations meeting where we began outreach for filling key upcoming vacancies. We began planning outreach for the upcoming vacancies happening within a year. The vacancies include 2 youth commissioners and 1 Northside commissioner. So you all met Gottlieb, he's our Northside commissioner, and he's gonna be up for, that seat's gonna be up for reappointment. In the coming year. Additionally, we discussed how to better hold the commission accountable to our stated responsibilities and priorities as a nominations body. We want to ensure commissioners are not just appointed, but also supported, evaluated, and held to a standard of transparency and engagement. So we're in the beginning, right, because as we're building the plane, we're flying it, we're two years in, and we want more transparency and more engagement with our commissioners, because we have 7 commissioners who are creating legislation at this very moment. And I just wish that there was more insight on that for our neighbors, for our constituents, for everybody, including the district councilors. So I just want a level of accountability there and partnership.
Sorry, can I ask a question?
Of course.
So these people are appointed, who are they appointed by?
So by myself and by 21 other nominators.
Okay,
So we're elected, and then we begin an outreach process. We get the applicants, we review their application, and then we do an interview process, and then we appoint the ones that we all kind of like vote on. So it's a lot of negotiating, a lot of hours just sitting with 21 other people and hearing their thoughts and negotiating to what's the best for the city, for all communities, from the north side, south side, west side, east side.
and the role that you're nominating for the next that's gonna be removed is what? What is the person's title?
They're commissioners.
The commissioners of the police or the commissioner, sorry?
Commissioners for public safety and accountability.
Okay, cool,
Yeah,
sorry,
for
thank
our-
you.
No, it's really confusing because we're
Yeah.
part of, the name of the department is the CCPSA, and that's the name of their position as well.
Okay,
So on that council, on that commission, there's 2 youth applicants, 2 lawyers, and 2 community organizers, and then 1 outlier, just a person from the city. And right now, 2 of the youth commissioners are going to be up for reappointment, and also the Northside commissioner. Yeah. And that's going to be 2 Northsiders actually, because Angel Navarajillo is actually from the North Side. So so if you all know of any outstanding youth between the ages of 18 and 24, let me know.
Could I ask you a question to the good answer about that? Sorry, so You said the two youth positions will be up for appointment. Are the current youth commissioners, will they no longer be eligible to take a youth position?
Yeah, they're gonna age out.
So, okay, do you know when those roles will need to be filled?
Next year.
Thank you.
Yes. So we want to begin outreach by September to get as much applicants as possible. Yeah?
Is there a way that when they age out that they can move on to maybe an adult role?
Well, yeah, if Angel would like to, he can apply to be the Northside Commissioner, because Gottlieb is a community organizer, and I'm sure Angel would meet those requirements. So yeah, the way that we choose who's up for reappointment is by lottery, and unfortunately, the two youth candidates got it this time. And our Northside Commissioner, who I really admire. I really like Gottlieb and the position he takes within the commission. So I'm hoping he reapplies. If he does reapply, we're thinking about having a separate application, set of questions for reapplying commissioners. Yes?
What input do we, the community, have in anything that you or the central committee does? I mean, you come here and you tell us you propose this, of course I've heard it. Now, I've missed a few meetings, so maybe I missed something. You tell us about people running for positions that we don't know what those positions are or who those people are, and nobody ever asked us. What's with that?
Yeah, so this is happening next year, and that's why I'm bringing it up now. We usually meet bi-monthly on average, and for a while, because there was no vacancy and no appointment needed, we weren't meeting. But now that the vacancies are coming up, we want to engage our community, and that's why we're having these conversations. So this is happening next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the outreach begins in September, and if you want input, feel free to share anything you'd like with me, as well as with your fellow co-counselors. There's plenty of ways to be engaged.
Well, one way to engage us, I might suggest, with all due respect, is to ask us. You know, you don't ask us for a vote, you don't ask us to approve, you don't ask us to do anything, you come here and tell us what you've done. Great.
That's fair.
Where's the community input? It can't be limited to 3 people or 7 people, whatever. There's
So the commission has
400,000 people in
meetings.
this
The
community.
commission also has monthly meetings. If you would like input on legislation and what they're working on, we can also share those meetings with you. This right here, this is pure engagement. This is for you all to engage with us. If
I'd
you
love to,
have
but
any
you never
ideas
ask us
of-
anything.
Huh?
You never ask, I mean, just my observation.
There,
I feel like there's questionnaires that have gone out. For example, when we were first appointing the 7 commissioners, there was definitely surveys and questionnaires for communities, for our community members, for people who show up to meetings. So definitely, we're always thinking about engaging people. If you have any requests, any suggestions, I'm always here to listen.
thank you.
Yes?
So just so I understand the timeline, you said that we are looking to start having applications for these positions go into September. I just my brain is breaking with how the organizational system. So
Yeah.
the 3 people that are in our kind of district area that are going to be reelected or reappointed, you're going to call for is there a job description that's posted somewhere calling for, and when is it I guess what's the timeline?
Yeah, so I think that maybe next month I can have the job posting and more information on the requirements for the commissioners.
Totally.
Because we do want to begin that as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But our outreach is happening in September. So we're planning how to begin outreach because their appointment is up next month. Next year.
Gotcha. So you won't start doing any of the work to actually do it, but you'll have description of what the thing is, and then we'll start doing it in September.
Yeah, I can have a better outline for you all next month for sure. I wish Anna was here because she's also helping with this process. But definitely I'll have if they're available, because we are working on questionnaires at the moment, but I will have something for you all next month.
Thanks for the clarity, yeah, because it's like just, yeah. Confused.
Right, great questions, by the way.
Yeah, great question.
And from both, from all of our questions that we've come out with, I want to thank everybody for those questions, because those are questions that make change happen, for one. Hopefully you're clear on how the whole thing sets up. CCPSA, it's actually two different branches. There's the district councils, which would be the three of us for the 14th district, and there's 22 other district councils as well. And then there's a 7-member commission, if you will. And we are elected by you, by the electorate, and the commission is actually appointed by the nominating committee, which is 1/3 of every council makes up the committee. If that makes sense. It provides any kind of clarity.
Yeah, this is super helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Question, when do we elect for the 22,
So the next election for our positions will be in February 27th.
On election day.
oh, okay.
Municipal election cycle.
Same time as other people.
Mayor,
Mhm.
you had a question?
Yeah, I've heard that there's a movement to get the 7 commissioners onto elected status as opposed to going through, your group and then being approved by the mayor. Is there any update on that?
Not with me, but I think that we can bring somebody in for like a special guest, for educational purposes. I think that's gonna be in conversation with, our community engagement person who is looking for suggestions on who to bring. But yeah, I think the referendum is, a good educational.
Yeah, I would like to learn more about that.
Yeah, there's benefits to electing, the commissioners for sure, because it's more directly, having a more direct relationship with someone who's creating legislation. Yeah.
So I can elaborate on that a little bit. Just there's a push to get a referendum on the ballot right now that, among other things, would make the commissioners directly elected. So right now it's kind of in the hands of city council. It's actually going to be reintroduced, I think, next month in city council. So it's if you feel strongly about it, you could contact your alderperson and say you support it or don't support it, and that's just to get it on the ballot for people to vote on it.
Ballot initiative, right? And just to kind of close up that topic as well, when you set up a new program or like a new office, it's pretty difficult to do from scratch. And we're figuring out month by month. Hopefully, you're feeling that we're getting better month to month. We've been at this more than 2 years now, and the commission first they were appointed directly by Mayor Lightfoot when she was still in office, and then we were elected in, and then our 22 nominators came together and whittled down the list to a finalist of, was it 10 or 15 or something to that effect?
15 that was sent over to the mayor, and I think it's 7 out of those 15. Yeah.
So, and it's kind of like, okay, you need to ramp up to get to that as well, especially considering the gravity of the office that they hold. I think this is, it's not ideal, but it's actually the most smoothest transition I can think of. When you think about how the school board, because it's transitioning in transition currently as well, where it was all appointed, now half are elected and half are appointed, and the next time around it's supposed to be all elected. So it's not ideal, but it's probably the most progressive ramping that you can do.
I can also say as an election worker, which I've been for the last several years, the ballots are already crowded as it is. And it's the sort of thing that could possibly get lost, like with the judges, so it's tricky from that aspect as well. I mean, we already have a ballot that's probably 100 choices on average.
Yeah.
So that's another part of the transition too.
45 minutes to vote.
And democracy is messy.
That being said, thank you for all the input and all the questions. They're very valuable, more valuable than I can show you how they measure.
Not to put too fine a point on it, but, so ultimately, the mayor gets a list of names for the 7 positions.
Yes, two per position, they were given, or actually they were given 15 minutes for the 7.
And he makes a final pick.
And city council then approves it, first through the committee on police and fire, and then city council votes to approve it. As
Okay,
far
thank
as the particulars, if something goes wrong in that process, I would not be able to answer that. But
What could go wrong?
if somebody doesn't approve it, then there's more complicated on how you remedy that.
Thank you.
With that, anything else for nominating updates?
No more nominating updates, if there's no more questions, I'll move on, but I'll have more information for you all next month for, the engagement process. So I guess, just following up on the sexual assault cases, I think David passed out, the Area 5 meeting happening on July 28th. So this is, with the detective unit, I got all Area 5 police district counselors to agree to this meeting with our Area 5 detective commander. And this was all, let me read down what I wrote. The July 28th meeting with detectives was called in response to multiple sexual assault cases in the 14th district, where survivors and community members expressed serious concerns about how the cases were handled. Many felt ignored, dismissed, or re-traumatized by the process. The public deserves an update on what has been learned, if anything, and why the investigation process has taken so long. So yeah, there must be follow-through on this entire process. It was a very contentious process, a lot of anger on both sides. So I just wanted to gather the police district councils, their constituents, us, and the commanders, the people leading these initiatives in CPD. As well, I think it's going to be victim services as well, and also something on the CODIS system, which is the DNA processing system and why it takes so long. So, yeah, I hope to see you there on the 28th. And also, my final update is that July 8th, I'm meeting with the commander for the first time, the new 14th district commander. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be inviting him to the August meeting. They should be coming now because of GO 111, at least the commander should be coming, and I just wanted to engage the public to see how we feel about that. I know we want to meet him. So yeah, I'll take any input on having the commander here. Frequently, not frequently, anything y'all are thinking.
Just a suggestion. Bringing the commander in to meet with us. We know that he's going to be bombarded with questions about status and statistics and case happenings and investigations and so on. Why don't you I suggest that you let him know in advance what questions you expect to be asked so that he can then prepare.
That's fair. If we have any questions that he can't answer, he's always, because of the GO 111 general order, he should have those answers by the next month. Leadership and the commander should be coming to our meetings actually, and they haven't. Yeah.
I was just going to point out for the meetings with Commander Linus, we did give her almost a month in advance the list of questions
You
that
did?
we had. Oh yeah,
Okay.
absolutely, and she couldn't answer any of them at the meeting.
Wouldn't, but okay.
We did, yeah. Thank you for sharing, Sally.
Yeah, no, it was frustrating. Let's hope the new commander is better.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah.
Did she end up providing answers for those questions?
No, she's still having a job.
No.
Or
Yeah.
move wherever she's.
Yeah, but
No, I'm gonna actually begin the FOIA process for those answers because I think CPD is unwilling to provide those answers to us. But in our meeting with the commander, I'll bring those 17 questions that we asked back in March to see, to just engage his, so, like, slowly, yes, just to slowly, let him know what the community is asking, and I hope he can provide answers, or at least something else, something.
So I have a question about the meeting, the Area 5 meeting. It didn't occur to me until just now. I know that that's doubling back to it.
No, please.
I just, I know that there's like, that it, public policy and that they're spending public money, but I also know that there's like a lot of resources for victims that like, have we, I got this sticky note in the bathroom that's called like the WINGS program. It's like a hotline for people who are experiencing domestic violence. I guess I was just wondering, like, since we are kind of reinventing the wheel by like creating this whole thing, and like, have we considered like resourcing and adding like people who are already doing this work and like bringing those resources to the police so that the police don't feel like they have to reinvent the wheel also, and like and connect because I mean honestly, like, do we feel like cops are going to be like really qualified to handle domestic violence? Like the statistics show that they are actually like perpetrators of domestic violence more often than not. So like how can we know that and acknowledge that like there are resources for people who are experiencing this, and how do we just connect that information so that the police can be like, I don't really know how to do this, and also I'm not great at it in my own personal life, but like here's this resources that like I have been provided by this like council, even if it's not like, obviously we want to use public funds, like I think that's the dream, but like if people are already going to be doing this work, like can we connect like resources that already exist and like networks of care so that the police can kind of just be like, I'll write down the report, but like I don't want to do the rape kit, and like someone else who's more qualified should do the rape kit and not us. And like how do we like connect those resources for that?
If I could cut in real quick. First of all, I strongly encourage any organization that does things like this in a capacity to them, probably better than any police officer can. I invite them to reach out to our community outreach because we'd like to have them come and give a presentation here. The worst information is the information that's kept a secret. I think the more people, especially that come here and see, hey, we want to be an active part of government on your behalf. And I think that's probably one of the ways that we could be the most active, like bringing that information to light and getting people acquainted with those resources that are made available. So if you could reach out to our community outreach representative, and that way we can start lining some of those up.
Definitely that's something I've been thinking about because you're not the first person to say this. And there's a couple organizations that my fellow district councilors connected me with, so I think it's just about meeting with them and seeing in what capacity do they want to work with the police, because that's the other thing, sometimes victims don't want to go to the police and we have to respect that. So yeah, I think meeting, I mean definitely.
Well, also like the police, I mean, based on what you said last week, like the police don't want to work with domestic violence either. Like they don't write things down, they just leave.
Right.
Like, and so like if they could leave a like even just like a business card with someone else to like deal with it when they just leave. Like like honestly, yeah, I don't necessarily think the police do like not do harm when they're doing that. But like I don't want to leave someone with nothing. So yeah, sorry. Thank you.
I think what you're saying is they're just not trained for it.
There's a couple people that haven't spoken yet that raised their hand.
Well, I know you wanted to speak too. I'm just saying, you know, if that outreach could be given before the police even have to be called, you're putting a preventative method from using the police. So using community outreach is putting it out in the community, and hopefully it could be grabbed before it escalated to a police level. I mean, I'd like to see that. And it's not really ideal. It could be done, I think. So that's something to think about too. I'm sorry, Carol.
No, I was just going to say, you know, I listen to the dispatcher quite often for the 14th and 12th district, and the dispatcher, based on the times that I listen, always asks the police, are you, and it's several letters, are you CC something or other trained? And if the officer says yes, then that officer is assigned or chooses to go to that case. And if the officer is not, then they ask for an officer that is. So they're careful to try to get the right officer to go to that incident. And you can go and listen for yourself if you want to listen to the dispatcher and see what they say.
What's the online portal for that?
I go to Broadcastify.
Broadcastify.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for the dialogue. Any other?
Did you have something, Sally?
Yeah. I mean, at my last beat meeting, 1414, I asked about why domestic violence incidents are not reported. There was an aggravated battery with a knife, which was classified as a domestic violence incident, but it was not reported to our beat. And I was asking, why is that? And I also checked on ClearMap on the Chicago police webpage, and in a 2-week period in my beat, 1414, there were 14 domestic violence incidents that the police attended, and none of those are ever reported to our beat meetings. I was told, oh no, we can't report them. And I kind of pushed a little bit, and I was told, no, they're private. We can't publish them. But they publish them on ClearMap, so why can't they let us know, what's going on with domestic violence in our beats? I mean, 14 domestic violence incidents in a 2-week period in beat 1414, which is a small little area, really, is a lot.
Unacceptable.
Yeah, I found it really unacceptable, and I was told, oh, we're not going to publish these for you. So, yeah, I think that's a really, they're not taken seriously, you say. And they don't want people to know how widespread they are, and it really
Could just be one
concerns me.
couple, repeatedly. It may not be 14 different couples. You don't
No,
know.
these were 14, because they had the addresses on the clear map.
Could it be that the result of that domestic violence door knock ends up being a charge of battery or assault?
I don't think
Included in the other stats?
I think.
no, they're not. There were no reports of assaults.
That's a very interesting point, Sally, and I think that this is something I can bring up to the commander to see if there's anything he can do about these beat meetings and having this information available to us.
Yeah, no, I'm really upset about that, particularly given all the sexual assault problems that we've had in this district, And there's still a sexual assault, beat 1413, which is right next door, just across Kedzie here, and they still haven't arrested or done any really serious investigation about the guy who did that sexual assault, even though he called an Uber to come pick him up,
All right,
which I find it amazing.
We're going to reel it back in over here. I appreciate everyone's input, and I strongly endorse dialogue, but we do need to complete our city business here. Anything else from Council Vargas?
Those are my updates. I have more for police accountability.
Okay. That being said, Council Orlikoff, what do we have from community outreach?
Thank you. Because I got some things recovered. Really quickly on the Area 5 meeting, if you'll list those flyers that I passed out, but you can submit questions, and also you can share this with other people that might be interested. And there's also a short link and a QR code, so there's different ways that you can spread the word for this meeting. Yes?
Just really quick, I think that you or Ebony or whoever is creating this, maybe we can put like detective Area 5 unit, just because I don't think the public will know what Area 5 is. Something like that, or a meeting with commander, detective commander Foster. I don't know. Something.
I wrote that for a second time. Sure, thank you. There's also, I don't have a lot of copies of this, but the city is doing its current budget engagement process. So, the meetings for the north and west side happens on the 28th and the 1st. If there are any remaining meetings, I think all the in-person meetings have happened, but you can still, give your feedback on the city's budget, which a lot of the money, goes into public safety resources. So if you can take a picture, of this, or you can navigate to it from the city's website. Thank you. And that also, relates to the speaker we had last time, and, if you'd like some information on the budget and there's a group called the Public Health and Safety, amendment, I don't have the link there, but, okay. Sorry, moving on a little bit. There were things brought up, I guess, that I had, some answers for. One about, just really fast with the CCPSA, I do have copies of the map of how it's supposed to work, if anybody else needs one. I do have, I think that there's room for at least one improvement on this map, but in general, yeah. My understanding is that, the district councils are locally elected, and we're supposed to pay attention to what the local community is thinking and feeling, and we're supposed to work to ensure that the city is somewhat responsive to what you want. We don't have basically any direct power. Like, we cannot vote today or any time to change what anybody working for the city is doing, like, as a law. But the most direct power we do have, as was discussed, is nominating the people who will become the 7 commissioners. And the powers that the commissioners have are to directly hire and fire the chief of COPA, as well as to to participate in the hiring of the superintendent. And also, they run the hiring process, but they don't get to make the final decision for the chief of police. And they also can write CPD policies with CPD. They both have to co-approve on all new policies. So the commission basically has broad powers over over police policy, over the city level of police policy. And then also, as far as the qualifications, where you get the full official answer for the qualifications is in our municipal code in 2-80-040, which is the commission composition and qualifications. So you can take a look at this now if you would like, and it's also available online. If you Google CCPSA Chicago or Community Commission Chicago, it would be in the About the Commission section, but the law is literally what's written here, so happy to share that. Okay. Great. One other, a timely thing that I was going to mention, but so the last discussion I'm gearing into questions about having speakers related to victim advocates and CPD. I've been trying to have CASE, the Coalition Against I don't know what it stands for, but there's a group that has victim advocates. There's a group of professional victim advocates called CASE, C-A-A-S-E, and that also does policy work and advocacy and public education. And they were specifically, they had published reports about about the interaction between CPD and victim advocates. So I've been hoping to get them to speak to us, but unfortunately their community engagement, they were looking to fill their community engagement position. They were understaffed, which may still be the case, but I'm still hoping to get them to speak to us at some point. I did connect them to work with the First Ward Alderman on related issues, but in a nutshell, I agree with one of our constituents. There is an issue with having CPD perform the role of victim advocates, which is namely victim advocates outside of police departments are a professional class that have professional standards, similar to like a doctor with HIPAA or a therapist. They have standards to protect the privacy of the victim and to work in their best interest and respect their decisions. Those standards do not exist for even the civilian victim advocates within the police department. So they serve a certain function, but it is not with the safeguards that actually protect victims in that professional role. And I, on Thursday, spoke with a woman, Dakisha Johnson, who is currently suffering partly as a result of that. She had made reports to police about domestic violence, and then a detective was moving fast towards certain prosecutions. She recanted her statements, and she says that she's telling the truth and she was lying before, but her children have been taken from her by DCFS working with the detective who wants her to continue testifying against her ex-partner. So it can be a nightmare situation. And, you know, she is asking for help with her case. She has gone public. And she said that she was suffering from, she felt that she was being followed and harassed by people that wanted her, by police that wanted her to continue testifying. So victims can be harmed by CPD serving the role of the victim advocate without having the safeguards in place, and that is definitely a court issue. I can talk to people after, or you can look up case, but I do hope to get them to our meeting. Okay, a couple other updates. Sorry. CCPS, got those. One update is I attended 2 empowerment sessions from GAPA, the Grassroots Alliance for Police Accountability, one of the 2 groups that helped create the district council positions. And they had trainings on some of the history of police accountability in Chicago, as well as on outreach, community outreach. And I'm told that at the end of the summer, they will share access with some outreach tools where I will be able to send text messages to, remind people of these meetings, basically. I've not really been using phone numbers before, but if you gave me your phone number, you might get a text from me in a couple months, or from a random number that changes or whatever. And you can obviously opt out of that. Okay. Lastly, I don't know if I don't remember if it was mentioned here or not, but I was going to mention about CPD and ICE. Or it was mentioned. People were speaking about the hearing in City Council. I have seen what I consider inaccurate miscommunication that I think could be dangerous, where some people have inferred from comments, in support of the sanctuary status made by some of our leaders, that CPD is, I've seen posted online that CPD is going to arrest ICE agents to prevent them from deporting people. That is certainly not the case. And I think that we should be accurate, and that misinformation can be dangerous. Certainly the city has said, the mayor has said that CPD is not assisting ICE. My understanding of what he means by that is that they're not sharing lists with ICE directly, or making handoffs to ICE, or performing a detainment for the purpose of a deportation directly. What CPD has done since the June 4th and with all the deportations since is generally to form lines or make barricades and then to police
crowd control.
Yeah, right. So they're policing the people that are there to try to resist against ICE, and they have made a number of arrests, not of ICE agents, but of protesters and people resisting ICE. So CPD is not directly assisting ICE by taking people they believe are undocumented from the city key registry and then giving them to the ICE agents, but they have been arresting people trying to stop ICE from making those deportations.
My issue with that is, to my knowledge, ICE agents aren't identifying themselves and they have their faces covered. So how do they know for sure who they are?
It's extremely dangerous, and the standard in Chicago and the state is that law enforcement agents are required to identify themselves. Police officers are required to have their name and badge displayed. Sometimes you cannot read it, and you technically should be able to ask them to state their name and badge number, to say it in a way that you can hear it and understand it. So anybody claiming, and ICE agents currently also have no authority to arrest people to perform law enforcement functions. That's protected under posse comitatus. So, currently they're claiming to have limited activities for non-citizens. There is nobody should have any policing authority, law enforcement authority, who is not willing to identify themselves. That is true, and that is also a scary thing to be questioned.
There's also some states that are advocating, or their legislators are fighting for unmasked ICE agents to do what they have to do in the community, but be willing to show your face for many safety reasons. So I think that if we are concerned, that we need to call our alderperson and our congressperson, our state legislators as well. Yeah.
My final update, I believe, in addition to meeting Keisha Johnson, I also was with family members of Timothy Blaze, who was killed by police officers in January of this year, and then more recently Nate Fedrang, who was killed just west of in the 25th district, but on West North Avenue in Humboldt Park, near to us. And I met his mother and sister and other family members who are asking. They currently do not even know who shot him. I believe they're going to be showing big body camera footage on Monday by COPA. I shared with them the Area 5 meeting in case they wanted to have questions of the detectives there. But I am trying to get specific, accurate statistics on this. Unfortunately, I don't have them today. But the last update, I attended the annual Police Accountability Forum from the Chicago Council of Lawyers for Civil Rights or Civil Liberties, and Craig Futterman. They had the interim COPA chief there. There's an interim COPA chief, but they're still searching for the permanent one, which she could be promoted to that potentially. She's been working there since the beginning of Onsen. She started in intake, and now she's the interim chief. They also had Lauren Jones from Impact for Equity and Craig Futterman from the UC. So Craig Futterman said that what a lot of us, I think, have been experiencing, that violence from police officers in Chicago has been increasing steadily and somewhat dramatically in this year. I believe he said that the number of shootings and or killings was double in May from police officers from last year. But that's just 1 month. But overall, the trend has been increasing year over year, that there are more shootings and killings from CPD officers. And this year in particular, it has been trending in a dangerous direction. So that's very concerning, as in terms of, we were formed to try to stop that from happening through a number of, accountability measures. And it saddened me greatly, that after 2 years, we haven't really seen the results that we want to see. That's it.
Thank you very much for your updates. Mine are going to be rather brief in comparison. I wish I had better news. First of all, there's been a spate of gang activity on the uptick in our district. I had a constituent reach out to me this morning, as a matter of fact, regarding bent street signs, and they actually tagged their garage. So, and I've had the fence at my property, and the street signs were bent down as well, and those are markings for territory for certain gangs. So be mindful out there when you're out there by yourself or even with loved ones. Strength in numbers does help to an extent, but doesn't cure it all.
Also report that to 311 to get the signs fixed.
The only updates that I have on our accused perpetrator of the sexual assaults, currently facing 18 charges. We're still waiting on further court movement on the next hearing dates and things like that. I imagine that particular person is shopping around for an attorney that will actually take their case at this point, which is part of the process. And this is the most heartbreaking thing that I have to share. There was a 4-year-old and their 2 siblings were stabbed yesterday morning, just outside of District 14, to the west of us. And by the mother. And she set fire to the apartment. And I clarified that it's an apartment because it was a shared space. So not only did she end the life of one of her children, she directly impacted the livelihood, the health and safety of her 2 other children. And then she also jeopardized the lives of the cohabitants of the building that she lives in. So, and a lot of people are quick to snap the judgment. They say that it was a mental health crisis, and it more than likely was. I can't imagine anybody in their right mind doing that to their children or their neighbors. But, and this kind of tethers back to our previous meeting about mental health and things like that. We could have all the mental health, possibilities out there to help people, but if we don't do anything with it, if we never reach out for it, so we need to be mindful of our friends and our loved ones and make certain that they get the help that they need before it becomes this severe. So keep them in your thoughts, if you don't mind. I really appreciate that. That being said, that's all my updates. We'll go on into our discussions portion. Police accountability, what have you.
I have a
Councilor
couple
Vargas?
things. So going back to ICE and CPD collaboration, I've written something down, so I personally assisted in filing 2 separate COPA complaints from community members regarding alleged cooperation between CPD and ICE. In both cases, COPA later informed me that due to jurisdictional limitations, the complaints were referred directly to the Office of the Inspector General for investigation. So in my mind, that was great because that's a step I didn't have to take, because I was gonna also file these complaints to the OIG's office. These concerns escalated, the concerns between cooperation between CPD and ICE escalated following the June 4th incident, where CPD officers were seen entering and exiting a location where ICE operations were occurring. Multiple eyewitnesses reported apparent collaboration between ICE and the Chicago Police Department. And last week during the City Council's immigration meeting, we heard directly from the accountability bodies. We heard from CPD, from COPA, and the OIG's office. And it became clear that there is currently no active investigation into collaboration despite this colossal community concern. This shows a gap in oversight that urgently needs to be addressed. We can't claim to be a sanctuary city if we are not investigating these alleged violations. COPA is concerned of getting a lawsuit, they're concerned of getting sued by the FOP if they take on investigating CPD and ICE collaborations because it's not written in their policy. BIA is saying that it's a conflict of interest if they pick up this investigation, so they're unwilling to do it. And the OIG is saying that if BIA can investigate, why do we even have them? Their sole purpose is to investigate police, so they don't understand the conflict of interest, and they questioned BIA's existence, which we've been doing here for a while. So with all that saying, we really need to pay attention right now, and we need to protect ourselves, we need to protect our neighbors, and we need to have these tough conversations and shed light on the lack of accountability we actually have in Chicago, and that's the sole reason district councilors are here. So we keep fighting.
Can I ask you a question? Sorry, did you, so COPA said that they don't believe that they have this jurisdiction. What did you say about BIA? Did you say that the BIA should be doing an investigation?
No, I said BIA is unwilling to take this on. This is all coming from the immigration hearing that happened, and BIA is saying that it's a conflict of interest for them to take this up, and the OIG said that.
Okay, because I guess I'm wondering if we need the commission to create a CPD policy that says that they follow the city's sanctuary ordinance? Like, if they're saying that that's not already part of their duty? The commission would be the people that could make that their jurisdiction, if it actually isn't currently, which seems shocking that it wouldn't be with COPA or DIA when it's the law that we have.
Yeah, the OAG is willing to investigate, only if, it's really unclear who's willing to investigate at this moment. It's very unclear. The older people have set out a list of demands. They want OIG to investigate the OAMC calls and COPA to investigate the collaboration between ICE and CPD. So it's just up in the air at the moment, and yeah, it's something we really need to pay attention to right now. And then my second thing for police accountability, I attended the budget priorities with the mayor's office. So the mayor's office recently held budget roundtable. I voiced my support for the People's Unity platform, which calls for the $300 million currently allocated to unfilled CPD positions to be used as a different thing the platform is suggesting, which is treatment of trauma. It's increasing 24/7 mental health calls, so increasing the CARES unit to be citywide, youth employment, youth engagement, and reopening mental health clinics. And here in the 14th district, we're very lucky because we have the LOSA Center, which offers free mental health services for uninsured people, for undocumented people. So we're very lucky to have that, and I just want to see that citywide. So that's why I had to show my support, which I saw some people in the room present, which was very nice. I also raised the issue of how our tax dollars are being used to cover police misconduct lawsuits. Chicagoans are paying hundreds of millions of dollars in legal settlements due to police violence. That money could be redirected towards our schools, healthcare, and housing, which has all to do with public safety. Additionally, there's a national conversation around requiring officers to carry personal liability insurance, which would increase accountability and protect Chicagoans. So if officers commit repeated misconduct, they could become uninsurable, which would prevent them from continuing to serve. And that's an idea worth exploring, so our tax dollars aren't misused on protecting police violence. And that's what these round tables, what conversations I heard and things I supported during the round tables. And again, David has a QR code to have everyone's input for the budget.
Yeah, and if QR codes don't work for you, sorry, you'll have to search for the City of Chicago website. Under the mayor's office, he has his 2026, it's called 2026 budget engagement.
Okay.
You have questions?
I'd like to offer a clarification on a statement made a little while ago about police-involved shootings. It'll be quick.
As long as it's brief, please.
2022, 2 killed, 21 wounded. 2023, 5 killed, 5 wounded. 2024, 3 killed, 6 wounded. 2025, 5 killed, 6 wounded. Now, not exactly an explosion. We can contrast this all the way back to 2014, 17 killed, 28 wounded.
2025 is only half over, so yeah, 5 in 2025 is an explosion of over 100%.
And who's to say there's going to be one more death?
There's an article that came out talking about the increase in police shootings. So it's not just what David is saying, there's articles out there.
No death is negligent, or no death is negligible?
Well, I would hope that my life would not be negligible if it is taken by someone who's being employed by the city. So
yeah.
I think when it comes to someone being murdered on the streets by someone who's being employed by our tax dollars, I think that is a concern. Regardless.
Not always, not always murder when a police officer shoots Someone?
Okay, I'm gonna ask that we maintain order here. This sounds like discussions that we could probably do a debrief on, individually after the meeting, if you don't mind.
Or maybe a presentation at a future meeting.
Right.
I only ask that we get our facts and statistics
No,
straight.
I understand the spirit of the topic.
Yeah, I definitely recommend a future discussion within the meeting.
Yeah.
All right, that being said, Councilor Orlikoff, anything else on police accountability?
I think one item that we touched on, which is, inviting, having a new commander come to these meetings, or one of these meetings. I do feel strongly, and I think that it's been communicated many times before, that constituents would like the commander to introduce themselves at one of these meetings. So I think that, I know that our staff sent an email listing some of our upcoming dates. That we also have an official invitation form through GO 111, so I'm posing to my co-counselors, and also I think that GO 111 has some big wiggle room, and it says that like a member of the leadership team, so they, if we send a request for a certain meeting, what I would not like to have happen is that, the commander's not available and they send the lieutenant instead. When we might not, we might prefer to have that meeting be whenever the commander is available. So I think that we should use all the channels available. I guess we should send in those like official requests, but for multiple dates and make it clear that we'd like the commander to come and introduce themselves.
Right,
I'll go ahead and invite him for August.
Yeah,
July
he's
8th
available.
meeting, yeah.
Could you please let us know after your meeting if he says that he's available for the August meeting?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Or yes?
Might we consider asking them to make it a regular thing, maybe like once or twice a year?
Definitely.
Not just once, but maybe quarterly or
And
something.
so there's a flip side to it also, which is that, so for example, we received the communication from the police indicating that they would not be able to attend. We do not have any requirement that the police are here. From their own regulations, they want to make sure that they have notes of what is happening in the district council every month. There are different ways they can do that. Watch the video, meet with us, or come here or have a representative be at the meeting. We have the opportunity to make special requests of the leadership to attend a meeting, and we also can give excused absences where we say we actually don't need you at this meeting. So those are two official things that we can do now, is make a special request, a special invitation, or a special exemption to either attend or not attend a particular meeting. So so there's a question in terms of what we would like to do going forward. I think we're all on the same page that we want the commander here as soon as possible, ideally at the next meeting. If not at the next meeting, then as soon as they can be available. In addition to that, I am not sure what our policy in general is going forward. It seems that the new districts may be under the impression that they will be attempting to attend all or as many of these meetings as possible, and if we are not indicating otherwise. That's what I'm saying. I'm wondering if anybody has thoughts.
Well, it's my understanding that our new community outreach coordinator staff member has been lining up individual meetings with each of us with the new commander. I think Councilor Vargas is this week.
I reached out myself.
Well, I've reached out as well, but she's trying to calendar things up to make certain that we don't overlap or anything like that, which is a good thing because we don't want to breach OMA, for one thing. The provisions under the GO 111 is they are required to be here to some capacity, and it's a lieutenant or above, so it's part of the leadership. One of the reasons why we got the email on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, was because given the holiday and the constraints that they had citywide, they weren't going to be able to support us directly, which we can exercise. And I'm certain Ebony reached out to the both of you as well, saying she's going to answer the email, and which she did, said you're waived. So that's the caveat to it. They're supposed to come here. A member of the leadership is supposed to be here, lieutenant or above. And if they can't make it or we don't want them here, we can waive them. If I read GO 111 accurately.
But it seems like a change may be coming. Our last commander was did not seem to have the highest availability when it came to attending these meetings. Just from this first communication we got, it might be the case that they're gonna be coming to most of these meetings unless we tell them otherwise. So I'd maybe expect that, but it might not be the commander, it might be a representative at these meetings. So if you like that, great. If you think that we should be waiving them for some of the meetings, we can do that as well.
Question, just so I'm clear. However, we don't want police here if we haven't invited them?
That's a question.
That's a question.
Could you repeat that? I didn't quite.
So we don't, district councils don't want police to attend unless they're invited to attend.
Personally, what I want in that situation depends on my understanding of what the constituents, what they want and or the particulars of that meeting.
So they're just that, well, whatever.
Well, let me give my 2 cents in here. And I appreciate your input there, Councilor Willicott. Kind of leading into what your initial question earlier is, you're never asked. This is where we ask, hey, do you want them here or not, so to speak. I think the more eyes and ears we get on this, the better we all are. That's just my personal opinion, but that it may run adrift with your opinion. So, and I'm not here to satisfy my own needs. I'm here to basically take care of it.
My thought is they're members of the community. This is a community meeting.
I agree. I think that anyone that misses these meetings, in my opinion anyway, is missing out on some key information to a degree.
I think, yeah, if they're coming here in good faith, then I think that is acceptable. I think that sometimes there was some, victims were sharing their stories and there was antagonism. I felt like there was a real, I really don't feel like that some people came into the space with an understanding that there would be people there who had that experience and were actually going to, give their testimony of what occurred, and that there was somebody who actually knew, and it wasn't just, a report that they couldn't find.
I have a proposal to maybe end this summary, which is, all right, so to summarize, we want Ashley is going to again ask on the 8th if the commander can attend the August hearing. We want the commander here as soon as possible. And then I guess we don't need to make any proactive invitations or waivers. Let's see what they do for now. So whoever they send and how we feel about that, let's see what happens. And then if we want to make any changes, we have that opportunity.
I think to echo, I think that to be considerate of the power dynamics as well, this is a community meeting. If there is an officer or a representative, there is a difference of power, right? So in consideration of potential individuals who might not feel safe sharing in the room with someone with so much power, potentially saying, hey, at this meeting, so-and-so will be there, just so folks know, give people a heads up so they can then come in with some thought and consideration of the situation.
Right, well, and to that point, and I don't disagree with you, I think that, because I think we all can agree in this room that we want our police to do a better job, right?
Yeah.
Anybody disagree with that?
That's why we're here.
Right. So, are we just gonna get ourselves together and work up into a frenzy every month, or do we want them to actually be a part of this, bring their input, and take away some of our input? That's the cost benefit that I see of having them attend here. And I understand that people get a little skittish or what have you when there's police presence in there, but it's like, hey, look, if we want to make them better, we need to interact with them.
I do take the point about notice and promotion. I will try to do my best on that. The one thing is, depending a little bit on me having an accurate understanding ahead of time of what is going to happen. And just because it's new, I may have to mix up in getting it figured out. But I can try to do that. And then also, right, if we know that there will be sensitivities for a particular meeting, we can say, please don't come to this one.
We can waive them there. Yeah. I think that the more frequently they come, I think the better off we all are. And that's just, like I said, that's my opinion. But my opinion, it carries the lowest amount of weight in the end. It's your opinion that matters more. So,
So I'm good on, moving on from there.
all right, so, restorative justice, do you have anything?
Not specifically. The last two things I have are to discuss the budget and speakers and topics. There were already some notes on speakers and topics. I'm not sure exactly where the budget fits, but.
Well, that'll be in the items, yeah. That'll be after, 10:03.
So, no, I got it.
Council Barton, okay, evidence-based approaches to community safety.
Yeah, so speaking topics, to summarize, I heard that there was interest in a speaker related to the CCPSA jurisdiction or referendum. I also heard interest in speakers related to victim advocates and CBE, and interest in speakers related to, well, actual statistics related to police violence. Are there other topics or speakers that folks would like to see?
I would be very interested in finding out how I can get information about what cases are being reviewed by COPA. There's a lot of cases going in there. I'd like to find out how many are 14th district cases. And I can't figure out how to search COPA for current 14th district cases that are being investigated by COPA.
Something like that, I think you can file a FOIA fairly easily, just to ask them.
No, I don't want to have to file a FOIA every month. It should work.
Here's a possible solution, let me know if this works. I'm just gonna throw it out there. How about we, and sorry to put so much weight on your shoulders here, how about we get a member of COPA come out here and give a presentation, that way we can have dialogue and see how we can readily find that.
Yeah, and not just for us, but I'm sure other districts would like the same information. And I mean, I'm not a computer whiz, but you know, I couldn't figure it out. I even put in a COPA complaint, you know, a year ago. I couldn't even find that.
So you'll have some examples. Maybe it would also be good to provide some of those specific case numbers as case studies and for the questions when we get a COPA person to come here. But I would definitely glad to have to, we haven't had a representative here.
That's part of the problem.
What?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know what the number is?
I mean, it's my case. I had the number, but you know,
right,
I searched for my
number.
number.
I mean, but maybe as an example, if we could use that as an example, they could maybe show us where that information
That's a good
is.
example.
Okay.
But I also am wondering if some of what you desire may not be publicly accessible. And certainly there is more information on closed cases, on some of the closed cases than on the pending ones. But also if they're closed with no fault found, then those are also largely hidden. So, you know, most of the information is only available on closed, confirmed cases. And then there's less information on other cases. But we have not had a COPA speaker, and that is definitely part of the work that we do. So I can definitely work to get a COPA speaker. Thank you. Any other suggestions on speakers and topics?
Domestic violence. Not from a social worker point of view, from a police point of view. What does it take to investigate a DV case? What do they do when they get there? How can the public be helpful?
Well, you know, it's funny because, like I said, I said this a couple weeks ago at our last meeting. I'm waiting for my opportunity to sit down with Commander Rivera, so that I can say, you know, build that rapport and line out the expectations. Number one on my expectations is have a victims advocate, because I know I've come to find out we don't have one, and we need to put one post haste, even if it's in the interim until we get a permanent one. We need to have somebody that's going to sit there and reach out to our victims and make certain that they're not re-traumatized and that they're looked at on a regular basis.
When did we last have one?
I don't even know. I found out at the worst possible time when all these sexual assaults were going on.
I mean,
you know,
it's important to have
right.
victim advocates, because a police officer, detective, cannot be a victim advocate. That's not his job, her job.
The other ask that I have with Commander Rivera is, like I said, I want their input to these meetings. I don't want it to be a CAPS meeting. I want it to be more instructional and information, where it's like, hey, look, this is the trend that's going on. This is what you do if you're in a situation such as this. This is what you do if you're a victim of a crime. This is the protocol you should follow to reduce or to mitigate the damage, if you will.
There was an hand raised.
I'm sorry.
I know that on the notes for this meeting that like there will be a discussion of budget. Is there a possibility of us using the money that's like at least some of the money that we have for this like thing to supplement a victim advocate, like for like, I mean obviously like maybe not through the police, but like how can we put the money that we have here to like make that possible for our district if that's not happening?
That's a good question. I mean, our budget, the max is 5,000, and also it doesn't actually exist. Our department has created a theoretical that they say that that's how much they think they can move around, but it's actually part of the city's budget for the department. I don't know that they could move the, well, it would probably be a really tough ask for our department because we would be asking them if they could get the city to amend the budget to disappropriate their funding and give it to another department maybe, or it's not enough money certainly for the CCPSA to hire a victim advocate.
I'm just saying it would show willing that like what our funds are for like specifically what we have been saying is a problem for us and that we want to see it solved and that we're willing to put the money that we have allocated in some way to that. And I'm not saying it will work, I'm just saying I think it could show good faith of like we want to help you. We want these resources. We want our money to go.
If there's a way that we could use some of the funds for a workshop or resource fair, I mean, possibly we could have maybe a pop-up event with resources for people that might be victims potentially. Sorry.
No, I've got something.
I mean, yes.
Okay, so as far as our budget goes, I'll get to you in just a second.
You guys, I actually have a backdoor suggestion.
I don't want your arm to get tired, but I do recognize it. So the way that we've been told at our last quarterly meeting that we can't buy tech with any of our budget money, and I get it. Tech it outdates as soon as you pick it up off the shelf, it's outdated already. And it's just the nature of tech in and of itself. And it's not a bad look, but I don't know how they're going to sit there and line item it in order to make the budget expenditure for that particular item. I do like the idea of, as my colleague had just mentioned, that to where they have like a victims advocate on staff to some degree. But if they could sit there and shake the money out of the city budget in order for that to happen is a different story altogether. I mean, and I think it's right. It does show good faith, and I think that and you said yes, we have this problem. That's not isolated to the 14th district. I think every district runs into that once in a while or every now and again.
I will definitely ask our department if we could use some of our funds to pay a licensed victim advocate, I guess, to be on call for our district. I will ask because that is very interesting. So I guess we're moving.
Well, I guess Mr. Salem said his hand.
But to clarify, this discussion changed into the budget. Are we moving on from speaking topics?
Not quite.
I have a sort of a backdoor suggestion here. First, 35th Ward they have something called participatory budgeting, where the public gets to vote on various, we could perhaps propose this, maybe through Alderperson Quezada's office, and see if maybe also La Spada, see if they've got the money, because they get $1 million a year to spend.
Okay, so I just want to be clear that we're done with the discussion on speakers.
Yeah, but
Just for sidewalks and like.
just a thought though,
Yeah.
that maybe the money could be there.
Right.
Yeah.
See if Council Vargas has anything on evidence-based approaches to community safety. Didn't want to deny that discussion.
Right. Well, there were no other suggestions for speakers.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Anything else for evidence-based? No, I'm closing out.
Yeah.
All right, then we can go ahead and move into the budget. However, something that wasn't in my updates that I recalled while we were sitting here, those that are unaware, we had a mass shooting in River North earlier this week. Be remiss if we didn't recognize that issue as well. Thankfully, it wasn't the 14th, but crime has no boundaries.
There's a peace walk happening for the victims. If anyone's interested, it's happening this weekend at 2 p.m. Sorry, let me see. It's happening July 6th at 2 p.m. at Washington Square Park. Tomorrow, yes.
Okay, that being said, we'll go ahead and move into the budget talks.
Yeah, that's right. So as said, I will try to talk to staff. It might take a little while to get I'm sure the conversation is going to seem novel to some people and we'll be bounced around a little bit. But I will ask about if we can get a moonlighting, if we can get a victim advocate access for that. Additionally, I mean, sort of related to the issue of sexual assault and domestic violence, what we had used part of the budget for this year so far was on 2 self-defense trainings. And we also had internal approval to purchase some safety alarms, but we have not done that yet because I'm pretty ambivalent about it. So yeah, what we used most of our budget for last year was equipment. We purchased a projector and a screen. What we can't use the budget for, unfortunately, is pretty much anything that is actually useful for outreach. Like, we can't purchase snacks or drinks for meetings or events, which is frustrating. The main things that we can use the budget for are paying vendors and paying consultants, so like the self-defense trainers. We can also get other kinds of trainings, like some districts have had medical trainings, CPR and trauma wound care, or other things like that. So we spent we spent $825 on 2 self-defense trainings, 600 to 1,000 Waves, and 225 for the Grace Church. So there's still over 4,000 remaining, and we're halfway through the year. So we could have additional self-defense trainings. I haven't started scheduling the next one. It does take a decent amount of work to schedule those. I'm happy to continue doing that if that is what people want. But if there are other ways to address concerns in the district or other things people want to spend money on, we're all ears. But what I would like to happen is that we use it and not wait until December, because I do think that it can be worthwhile to assist with other things.
Just from personal experience, I found the self-defense class to be very helpful, and unfortunately, it was I used the tactics.
Oh my goodness!
I'm
so sorry to hear. Well,
and it was actually it was more like de-escalation,
okay.
Which is what they talk about a lot during the self-defense class, which I found very helpful. So before you're in that physical altercation,
You're talking about the 1,000 Waves one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, using distance, using my words, being very loud, making it very obvious to the public that there was an issue, and then somebody did assist me, and I was able to escape. So I'm saying that it works. I highly recommend it. If anybody's thinking about it, if they've never done it before, I would encourage people to make it known to their friends and family, for sure.
I know the first one, we had a good turnout. What was the second one like?
The second one was good. There were 15 plus the instructors, which was the desired capacity for the church is a smaller capacity. But yeah, all the participants said that they got along with it.
Do any of the districts use the money to teach children about gardening and the earth?
Oh my goodness.
And the importance that has with science and ecology? And also, you know, someone will come in and they'll rip their garden out and how to turn their cheek and not pull out a gun and shoot them because they hold up something that they've spent months working on. I'm just curious if any of the other districts are thinking and are doing that.
I love the question. I have not heard of that specific thing. Unfortunately, I don't have the list in front of me of what other districts have done, but I have not heard of that. I would definitely be interested in that. However, I think that I would fail in the capacity to create that program. But if there was a partner that we could, assist with in paying the trainer or the instructor, I think that could be a good use of our funds. But if there was already a space that existed,
Well, they have the Paseo Prairie.
Right, well, and that covers the venue aspect of things,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly, yeah.
The other thing is getting the expert that, to donate their time and attention to it, or charge a nominal fee, and scale up what the class size is gonna be, and get the right time, and make certain the weather agrees with us, and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of moving pieces and parts there. Now, the only caveat that I have with budget is that it makes certain that it takes care of the community, that as a whole, as writ large, not just a section of the community, but the community as a whole. Mr. Portillo?
Yeah, just, so like the Chicago Alliance Against Sexual Exploitation, I'm like looking at their website. I mean, like, I guess, I feel very strongly that, especially since, like, we know for a fact that the police are not reporting domestic violence, that they're not really doing a lot about sexual assault, like, I think trying to engage with, like, some kind of support for that, whether that be collaborating with the police to get us like a specific district victim advocate, or whether that be creating a victim advocate, or like giving funding at least for like the Chicago Alliance Against Sexual Exploitation to give them money so that they can help be victim advocates. Like I think that the support piece feels really important, and like whether that's education on domestic violence resources that we can be giving to people, or like helping, there was a person over there who now is gone that was like talking about these outreaches about like, what does domestic violence look like? What does domestic violence mean? How do I know if I'm being exploited? How do I know like how to de-escalate situations where I feel like I'm being taken advantage of, but I'm not totally sure? Like, I think, that feels important, and like, I don't necessarily care one way or the other exactly how this money gets spent, as long as it's like trying to deal with something that's clearly a big issue, that's clearly happening, that like is not being dealt with by the police, and that we would like to see that. So, and I know, Councilor Vargas, you said that there were organizations that you heard about like that were doing that. So like, I'm open to whatever you guys think. Like, if you are reaching out to these people, if they're responsive, if they feel like they actually want to do something, like even the money to like going to Ishan's like organization for like people doing like direct community de-escalation and action, like in relationship to the like being dispatched in like our district or whatever. Like, I just think that I want this money to directly go to helping directly our people, whatever that be through these.
So just to be clear, all right, we have not given any money to Ishan's organization, and also I think, right, so the advocacy group that he's part of does not directly employ the violence interrupters that we have here, but that seems like a separate idea, which would be, can we subsidize the street outreach teams in our district? Okay, yeah. I'll write that down.
Also actually works with domestic violence, specifically with domestic violence, and getting in touch with the victim and the perpetrator to kind of like create that relationship with them, and to like connect them to mental health resources, things like that. So maybe we can connect with also on this.
Yeah.
To see if there's any upcoming events that we can.
There's $4,000. It's not a lot, but it's not nothing.
Well, and not to sit there and put other people's business out on the street. Some of the other districts, they blew a lot of their budget last year on like hoodies and stuff like that for them to wear. I'm like, I'm certain what I'm wearing is perfectly acceptable to you guys. I don't mean, have 14th district emblazoned across my chest. I mean, I just think that it does nothing for you. So that's where I'm coming to, towards like, it needs to benefit the constituency.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that consideration.
So are you